All right, well, I wanted to do something more that's close to my heart. I tried to make a little video yesterday, a live video about suicide and stuff, because it's at the moment, like I look at the world and what the world presents, and like I'm always feeling out, is there anything there for me in this particular situation or that particular situation? And when you first start the course, you realize how obvious everything is, right? You have the way you see things and the way Jesus is telling you that you could see things when your mind is healed. And the contrast seems to be enormous. It's like, how the hell am I ever going to get this? How am I ever going to integrate these principles and these learnings into my thinking so that I can become the model of this idea of a healed mind, right? Now, in part, you don't ever become the model of a healed mind. You come to a place of acceptance that you are what the denial is. And in that, you start to recognize, oh, wait a minute, if I accept myself wholly as that on earth, right, perfectly imperfect, then it's a singular version of myself, the same as accepting myself as whole and perfect in eternity. So I'm always looking at my foibles and my errors and my judgments and everything else and seeing where they're not useful for my salvation or where they are. The Holy Spirit always judges for your perfection using judgment that I made to use my same attack and defense mechanisms for a new purpose, right? And little by little, all my relationships get lined up to that new purpose. And you find yourself, or I find myself, in a place where, aha, I see here's another little thing that's sticking out for me to look at, or another little thing that's sticking out for me to look at, right? So when he says the teachers of God are not perfect, or they would not be here, right? But it is their job to become perfect. That perfection is found in the acceptance of yourself exactly as you are. It's like, oh, I see. I'm the child of God, perfect as God created me, and not anything else. That's it. I'm not this other thing that I'm trying to become a better version of or trying to be perfect at, because that's never going to happen simply because I don't exist, which is a paradox. I seem to find myself here doing things and seeing things and sitting in Zoom meetings, but I'm actually told, if I'm applying this, that I'm in eternity where I could only ever be with my Father, formless as spirit, and everything else is simply an illusion, including the form association that I'm using. So I'm remembering again and again and again that I'm whole and perfect, and as I'm remembering that, I'm releasing the attempts that I'm making to try and heal what doesn't exist, to try and fix a problem that has no reality whatsoever, right? One problem, one solution. I think I'm separate from God. The solution is I'm not. And as I begin to let go of all my concerns about my physical association and the temporal identity that I've ascribed to it as a Dave or a dear one or anything like that, it begins to fall away automatically in my thoughts about it as being something associated with me. And my body takes its rightful place, or this body takes its rightful place as simply a vessel, simply a vehicle for my experience. And I become the mind, which is what I actually am anyway. So all the stories of my past and all the hopes of my future and all of these sorts of things, they become pointless. There's no necessity for them and no meaning in them and no nothing. Meaning can only be found in the moment. And as I become more and more willing to look at my relationships again and again and again, and to heal my mind of thinking that there was ever anything wrong in any of it, right? All I'm doing is letting go of what never was. It's like the miracle does nothing. But to go from that place where I think I'm a something to where it's okay for me to accept for myself that, oh, actually, I'm not anything to do with anything in this world, it seems like an impossible task. What does that even mean? How do I even begin to bridge that gap and get from the world of judgment, condemnation, and chaos and death to the world, to the happy world where I have a purpose given to me by God, and see my body as simply the vessel for my experience. It's like Dear One used to say, put clothes on it, wash it and feed it, and then forget about it. He was very secondary for the body, you know, like the body was like almost something he never thought about. It's like it barely came into his consciousness. He was just purely connecting all the time. And it's like, that's the place where when I let go of my ideas, when I let go of my identity and just become the living I am, the body takes its rightful place as simply what it is, as the learning vehicle, until the point where you just lay it aside. Don't need it anymore. I've learnt what it is I am and where I am always and forever. That's it. The mind training comes in from getting from there to there to bring the alpha and the omega together, which is where we're at now. I'm looking at the idea of collapsing my timeline in time and space because I've looked out there into the world and seen there's nothing really that I want. And Jesus says to me, give up the world and follow me. And I'm like, yes, Lord. Or I'm like, well, hang on a second. I'd like to do that, but, and there's always a but. So I'll follow you, Lord. Yes, that's the only true response. Here I am, Lord. And in that, purpose becomes manifest. In that, everything starts to fall into place as far as an idea of releasing what never was or what's not useful, to whatever degree I'm able to encompass that. And some things have a greater emotional load, or we have a greater attachment to false beliefs in some things than others. Usually the people that are closest to you have the most emotional attachment, and being able to push through those and go beyond those things through that action of forgiving myself for the association that I believe is true in that equation is something that can take a moment. Not take a moment in time, take a moment as in finding that willingness to do it. Right? It's always the prayer of the heart that brings forth the miracle, brings forth the change and the shift. And if the prayer of my heart isn't strong, if it's only superficial, just lip service, nothing else is going to change. Right? For lasting change, I need to find myself at the place where the emotionality of the situation I find myself in gets right to the bottom, gets the whole load, right? Which is why we draw our circle. We sit there like Anna, who's probably doing that now, or not. But it's something that, once you begin this journey and you start to have the moments where everything begins to change, you realize that it's actually a true thing. You realize that your salvation is something that's practical and something that you can actually apply, and that there is a higher thing going on here other than just what we perceive on the surface or read in the pages of the book. The pages in the book and the words on the pages are nothing. Eventually, we have to get past those words on the page and beyond the books and beyond all learnings that are represented through symbols, and enter into direct union, enter into the silence, into the peace of our own internal domain, and wait there together. But you have to kind of push for that. It's like energetically, you got to push, you got to feel and let yourself go to those places that are dark. And how you ever muster up the faith and the courage and the strength and everything to do that, well, I guess it depends how determined you are to escape the world of fear or the belief in fear. And you have to remember, it's like, oh, I love my dream of fear. The dream of fear is what I want. I came here for that. I signed on the dotted line. Yep, third dimension, here I come. Separation from God sounds incredible. Until you get here, and then you realize, hang on a minute, what's all this about? it's not so great. But, you know, you can look at the whole thing as, you know, being locked into Disneyland after hours. You know, if you're a little kid and you go to Disneyland or somewhere like that, it's like, imagine if they lock the gates after hours and you have to wait until they come to open the gates again. Except in this Disneyland, it could be like 100,000 years. And you start to look around, you're like, hang on, I've been on all the rides. They're boring now. I've played out all the death scenarios that I can. And I've suffered and I've done it all. It's like, okay, take a number, wait over there. Start doing your mind training, the debrief, the debug, or whatever they call it. When you run a virus program, you defrag your disk. That's what mind training is. It's defragging everything. Anyway. So I want to do another video about suicide because that takes it right to the bottom. And if you've, I don't know, Janine, have you ever been suicidal? Yeah. You know that place? Right, exactly. So you get to that place, right? You get to that place where you just can't take it anymore and you just wish it would end and you start to think about doing it yourself. And either that or you start to think about killing people or trying to solve your problems through, you know, taking a machine gun to school and whatever. I don't know. It just gets nutty, right? At that bottom dark place, anything can happen. You can't trust yourself with anything. It's like you don't have any idea why you're here, what you're meant to do, what the meaning of life is, why everything's so screwed up in the world and governments and people and, you know, all of these sorts of things. So you begin to look around for answers, but which is why I was telling you, Tina, we need to get this out. You were talking about that idea of promoting it. If we want to promote it, it's like, hell yeah, I want to promote it. It's like, I don't care about, you know, in the Eastern traditions, right? So it's like it's almost as if when you reach enlightenment or when you get to a certain level in your spiritual thing, that it's expected kind of that you hide yourself away in the hills or something and people have to come and find you. And it's like, it's unseemly to stand up on a soapbox and go, hey, I've seen God and wave a flag or whatever. I mean, in the West, they lock you up for that, you know, but luckily we're entering into a new kind of paradigm where more and more people are putting their hand up online and going, hey, hang on a minute, I just had an experience of the light and it showed me the world's not real, you know, and we're starting to find each other and we're starting to come together in that idea, whether we understand it or not, what's happened. And we're starting to utilize that to express from it so that we can begin to offer each other and join in that promoting of the idea of there being a better way of things. You know, it's like we're sailors in a submarine and we've been stuck in a broken submarine at the bottom of the ocean for so long, thinking we're doomed. All of a sudden, we're listening quietly and somebody's outside tapping on the hull, right? You just got to get all those sailors who are screaming and crying, just get them to shut up for a second. I can't hear, right? And you got to listen, be still and listen. Something else is actually going on, right? Let's begin to participate in the something else that's going on and make it easier for them to find us in the submarine, you know, to get us out. That's probably not a great analogy, but you get the idea. Right, so finally, instead of when we get to that place where we're suicidal and we feel dark and like everything's just, that's it, I'm done. Finally, when we get to that place, hopefully our mind training's kicked in enough where we can begin to utilize that emotional disposition for something that's useful and helpful, right? Because it's a waste just to destroy your body and then have to come back all the way around through the butto and do it again, get a new body and, you know, go to school and do all that dumbass crap all over again, just to find yourself back here in another Zoom meeting going, well, that didn't work. Right? And I guarantee you, we've all done it. having woke up in hospital when I was 20 something after a really good attempt, I realized I couldn't die. That was it. I couldn't even kill myself. It was just disastrous. And it's like, all right, well, if I can't die, if I can't kill myself, what can I do? I can get myself the hell out of the way and let Jesus sort things out. Oh, Dean just sent me something. So in that idea of suicide, then, that's the place that we want to go to, right? This is a journey into fear. I want to face that place where I've got nothing left. Because in that place, when Jesus says to me, give up the world and follow me, I can say yes and know that my yes is a true yes, right? So if you haven't yet seen that dark place where you just don't want anything to do with it, and Jesus knocks on the door and says, come on, give up the world and follow me, you're going to have hesitation about saying that yes, whether you realize the hesitation or not. Right? You've really got to be done with the world. And Tina, you'll have to correct my quote on this, but you know, like where Jesus says, unless you hate the world, you know, what's that? It's in the New Testament where Jesus is talking to the disciples and he says something like, unless you hate the world as I hate the world.
Don't know that one.
It's there.
I'll find it.
I've got my little, it'll be in Matthew, since that's the one I've read like 50 times and still can't remember any of it. Anyway, you can find it. But it's like getting to that place where we were talking about promoting this. Sometimes I look at the idea, you know, like we have the billboard on the highway here, right? That massive big Course in Miracles. That's the biggest promotion ever. All these cars go up the national highway every day and see it. But eventually what's going to happen is that this thought system will be more popular than Coca-Cola. Like it's going to be on everybody's lips. It's just going to be the way that people start to think. And as more and more people start to think along the singular lines of a unified self rather than an individual self, all those self-interested ideas that we think we need to keep ourselves safe and this is mine and that's yours, they'll automatically just fall away. Because we're no longer looking along those lines of thought with which to define ourselves. And we no longer care about our position in the world or our place in the world. We're just happy to be of service, whatever that looks like. Right? It's like, well, let me just give up all my ambitions, dreams, and everything, and allow myself to be guided by the divine within me and see where that takes me. Right? Now, you're either going to be saying yes to that completely or no to that completely. There's no gray area. Right? It's either I'm totally in or I'm totally out. And that's the place where you make a decision. So when you read these lessons, when you read this little book and you're reading these things, and you start to have the emotionality come up of it, you have that emotionality come up because you've still got fearful premise within you. Okay? Which is what this is designed to do. It's designed to bring that up for healing. It's like you're looking at one thing through the eyes of an old thing that no longer has any purpose, and you're bemoaning the loss of the old thing. Right? There's a moment there where, all right, I got to say, fuck it. What have I got to lose? I got nothing to lose. I was only just going to go off and die somewhere anyway. What the hell else have I got to do in this world other than train myself to bring about that kind of moment of confrontation and be okay with the confrontation as someone who's realized I want the confrontation. I want it. I want to find my bullshit. I want to find my fear. I want to find my blocks. Right? But you've got to realize that that's the kind of person, that's the kind of mindset you've got to have in this. And you don't realize it generally until you get a fair way in and you realize you can't go back. And then you're kind of like, oh, damn, there's nothing else. There's nothing beyond this. This is where I'm at now. And you can throw your book at the wall, or you can burn it, or you can do whatever, and you can have a tantrum and whatever, and eventually you calm down and you go, all right, I've got to do this. Because exactly, because you've already seen there's nothing else. There's nothing in the world you want. Right? I just want to get my ass out of here, done with this body, this vessel, this avatar, this stupid thing, and, move on in the journey of my soul. Right? The only caveat in that is you have to return your mind to God as it was given to you, free of all false belief. Now, it's not up to you to return it free of all false belief, but it is up to you to give the Holy Spirit permission, or the Spirit within you, to do that work. Right? And you got to realize that that's the work that we're about, in a collaboration with not only each other, but in a collaboration with the Spirit. So when stuff comes up, Bibiana, and you say, I still have resistance, there's a moment there where you check yourself and offer that to the Holy Spirit in an instantaneous thing. It's like, no, it's not resistance. There's a calling to love in there that I'm fearful of. Right? Why am I fearful of it? It's not that I have resistance to it. It's just like, because I've forgotten what love is as an unconditional presence within myself. It's like anything new. You know, when you come across something new and it's weird, you see a street performer and they're doing some weird thing and they're trying to suck everybody into the thing, and you're like, no, I don't want to get up the front because they might pull. It's like, it's exactly like that. You know you're going to be okay. You know the street performer's not going to kill you or do anything ridiculous. They're just going to have some laughs at your expense. And that's what salvation is. It's a tiny mad idea at which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. It's like, oh, hang on a minute. I'm the joke. I've got to put my finger on my nose. I'm the joke of all the universe. It's like, God damn, I've got to learn to laugh at myself more often. Welcome to 365 lessons for dummies. It's like Monty Python, how sweet to be an idiot. You know that song? No, you guys don't watch Monty Python? Anyway, salvation is a game that happy children play, right? If you're not really wanting to play the game, you're not going to be happy about it. You're going to be like, well, I'll watch everybody else play the game for a minute and I'll just see if they're happy about it. It's like, no one's ever happy about confronting their fears or their falsity. Nobody. That's not fun. We put a lot of effort into establishing that our fears are verified and our fears are justified and our fears are credible. It's like, why would I all of a sudden want to let down those defenses? If I let down those defenses, then everything that I built those defenses up for in the first place to protect myself is going to come rushing in. And I'm going to feel the same way that I did before I built the defenses. Scared. But the defenses only verify the fact that you feel scared because you're a stranger in a strange land. You don't know what the hell's going on in this world. You know, I'll lock myself in my room, and if nothing changes for a day, that'll be cool. I'll be at peace. I'll be all good with everything. It's like, no, you won't be. You're only verifying that you're living in fear. Meanwhile, you play it out on your body and give yourself cancer or some kind of thrombosis, or you have a conniption, you know. And the next thing you know, I don't know what a thrombosis is. I've just made that up. I think there actually is a thrombosis thing, isn't it? Isn't it something to do with your veins? Old people get it. Thrombosis.
It's like an old term. Like I hear like Joel Goldsmith or somebody saying that. Thrombosis.
I know.
Mary Baker.
Is
it narrowing of the veins?
Oh, okay, there it is.
Something like that. It's a constriction. Right? Because fear is a constriction.
Like a stroke.
Oh, everybody knows it.
Anyway, we don't want to have a thrombosis or a conniption or a bloody cancer or a whatever. We don't want any of those things. Let's just let go of all those sorts of thinking and the defenses that justify it, and allow ourselves to be useful in salvation to whatever degree we can. So, what's today's lesson, Bibiana?
I'm
in
put
the,
on the spot. I don't follow lessons. I always do my own.
oh, I
Those
know
kind of-
you don't. That's why I'm asking you.
The same one. You know, miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one.
Right. Tina, what's today's lesson?
It's good. On my
Janine,
decision.
what's today's lesson?
Oh, you want me to do it?
What is it? I'm just asking you what it is.
Oh, lesson 238. On my decision, all salvation rests.
Really?
Yeah, on my decision, all salvation rests.
Good.
Mm.
It's not a difficult decision to make once you realize the opposites, you know, the alternatives. It's like, thank goodness. Salvation rests. It's like, and I take my rest in salvation. Salvation rests on my decision.
Yeah, the prayer is beautiful.
Read it out.
Yeah.
Let's have it.
Ooh. Father, your trust in me has been so great. I must be worthy. You created me and know me as I am. And yet you placed your son's salvation in my hands and let it rest on my decision. I must be beloved of you indeed. And I must be steadfast in holiness as well, that you would give your son to me in certainty that he is safe, who still is part of you and yet is mine, because he is myself.
Good. It's important to like keep it really simple, you know, like everything in the course is so diversified. At first, it seems to be diversified because you're coming from a diverse way of seeing the world. It's like you have to go over here and grab a bit of the way you see things. Then you got to run over there and grab a bit of the way you see things. And then somebody else presents you with something. And then you have to go over there and grab a bit of the way you see things. Until the way you see things, you bring it all into yourself. You bring it all in. You like own and take responsibility for the way you see all things, until finally there's like this finger on the nose and you're like, all right, I am the way I see things. It's how I see myself. I see myself as whole and perfect. It's like I know the Christ in you and you and you, and I know the Christ in myself. It's like, thank God for that. And as I bring my mind to that place where I'm grateful for it, where I'm grateful not only for the truth of myself, but grateful for the parts that everyone's played. It's like it's one truth, it's one sort of thing. And there becomes nobody left outside of my circle. The whole world becomes an opportunity for love. The entire universe. You know, whether I think I see it or not, or think I'm affected by it or not, doesn't really matter. It's included. Christ's vision is altruistic. The people that are starting a war over in that country, and the people that are having a love-in in that country, and the people that are going on a picnic there, and the people that are trying to take my car back for being repossessed over there, and whatever it is. I'm just grateful for the whole lot, because I have no vested interest in any outcome of any particular situation that's going on outside of myself. It's all just a lesson. It's all just an opportunity. Everything's a moment where I can forgive my ideas about something that has no reality. Doesn't mean that I'm going to forget, that I'm not going to forget and give it reality again, but that's where my mind training comes in again and again. One lesson a day for 365 days. I retrain my mind to think along the lines that the course sets forth, so that I can bring myself to the same conclusions that are being offered to me as factual, matter-of-fact points of perspective in the course. Jesus is saying, this is how it actually is, and this is how you see it. How you see it isn't actually how it is. And you want to use your mind that's not seeing it right to try and tell yourself, well, let me just have a look at that idea. Let me think about that. Even though Jesus is telling you in lesson 10, your thoughts don't mean anything. Lesson 1, nothing I see means anything. It doesn't mean a damn thing. Stop trying to decide what things mean and how it is that you refer to them and use them in your salvation, and just let them show up as they show up and deal with them in the moment. If there's nothing that's seemingly disturbing your peace of mind in the moment that shows up, then just be grateful for that. Because you can be sure that just around the corner, there's going to be a something. As soon as you walk out your front door tomorrow, there's going to be a something. You pick up the newspaper, there's a something. But that's the process. I'm letting go of what never was. I'm letting go of what's false, that I've given a belief to, that I've given a meaning to, so that I can clear away the space to remember what's true. But that space has to be big enough so that when the shift in my consciousness occurs, to be able to incorporate it, that it stays put there and isn't corrupted by my residual thinking that's trying to tell me that, what I think I see with my body's eyes has some kind of relevance to it. Because it's never going to. What you see with the body's eyes and hear with the body's ears is always going to be at the expense of remembering and accepting and living in the grace of God that is within you now. Try to imagine it, how peaceful and how calm and how certain you can be when you truly understand that God goes with you everywhere you go. Not because you've understood it conceptually, but because you've had an experience of it and you understand it like in the true sense of understanding, where one of a lower order stands before a higher order. When you see God, you'll fall on your face. Now that's in the Bible. When you see God, you'll fall on your face. You'll realize and remember like the truth of yourself as part of creation, not as the arrogant kind of thing that seems to want to believe that, it's me, all me. It's like, no, I'm part of a whole. I'm not a whole entity unto myself and screw you guys. Which is the mentality that we're taught on in the world. It's like, well, don't trust anyone, always look out for yourself first. That's kind of how I was brought up, which led me into this horrible place where I was always having to defend myself against everyone and everything, assuming, of course, that everybody else didn't have my best interests at heart. Assuming that they were just being mean to me or treating me like whatever, because that's how they actually were. It's like, no, they're not. They're playing the part I've asked them to play to verify to myself my experience of denial, of unconditional love. It's like, that's a big pill to swallow. I don't know if I'm ready for that. It's like imagine if you got all your friends together, and you said, hey, I've written this story. It's an incredible story. There's rich people and poor people, and there's villains and heroes, and there's people that do things and people that defend things and whatever, all this stuff, everything, like a snapshot of the world, right? And you could put yourself into some kind of virtual experience of the story you've written and play it out as if you've forgotten that you wrote it yourself. That's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. You mean I asked that person to play that part and they've learnt their lines perfectly and they don't remember that they're child of God and I don't remember. If you could remember that you were a child of God in the moment where you were doing all these things and playing out your part, you wouldn't do it. You'd quit. You'd just like ring up the union. No, I don't want to be an actor anymore. I'm done. I've had enough of that. Thank you. And you'd just be about the job of loving. It's like sometimes you need to find a teacher or someone that's actually walked off set and come back to tell you that the drama you're participating in doesn't have a great ending. It's like I'm telling you, this doesn't have a great ending. It ends in just like this cycle around again. And then here you are at another Zoom meeting again, around again. So there's no way out of it like that. Exactly. So it's like now we're looking at the script we've written. Now we're looking at the story of our lives in the world as bodies and these things. And we're taking our eraser and we're editing our own script. It's like, I don't like how this relationship plays out in my life. I'm going to edit out that part where I made some kind of decision about it that perpetuated it to come around again. And I'm going to leave that bit blank. I don't know what I should write in that bit where I would normally have gone and point the finger out there, but I'm just going to leave it blank and let that be miraculous. I'm going to let something else happen. So instead of putting my 2 cents worth in, getting up on the stage and reading from my lines, I'm going to just say, nope, not doing that. And all the other actors are going to be looking at each other going, Dave's not reading his lines. What do we do? What do we do? The whole play starts to fall apart. Everyone starts to get affected by you refusing to participate in death, which is what the production is, in case you haven't guessed. It's as simple as that. So no, I refuse to participate in any production where death plays a part, because I've realized that I'm life. I've realized that I've been here far too long, assuming this world is my domain and my reality and everything else. And it's time to move on in the journey of my soul. I'm done with this stupid place. I've been stuck in Disneyland for 100,000 years or whatever it is. And it's like, when they open the gates again, I'm out. I'm not going to be over the back somewhere having just one more ride or, trying to shoot the little ducks again just one more time for the perfect score. I don't care about all that. I've lost interest in it. If you're just here on your first incarnation, it may be very thrilling. You might be still enjoying shooting the little tin ducks as they go around and riding on the roller coasters and having relationships and achieving things and building multinational companies and all of that, everything you can do here. But for some of us, we're just like, nah, not unless it's helpful. Not unless there's something in it that's going to bring me to a greater awareness of love within myself and my brothers, and that's it. And that's where you don't really know what anything's for, you know. I don't know what this is for. It's like Ida. Ida didn't want a job, or no, she did want a job. That's right. She wanted the one. Who was it didn't want the job at IBM? Because it wasn't spiritual enough.
You're talking about Ida. But
I think
yeah, it's Ida, but yeah.
She's going through a crisis. She wrote to me last night. Good thing. Nothing like a good crisis to get you to,
Yeah, I was thinking it was good.
I know. So don't react to crisis. Just breathe, recognize it, take responsibility for it, and do the work.
Yeah, indeed.
Exactly. Keep your finger on your nose. I'm the author of this crisis. I'm the author of this situation. It's like I'm the one that's brought it on myself. And it's like I need to change the way I'm seeing it, change what it is so that I can learn the lesson that's being presented rather than reacting to it defensively. Yeah? So that's the only way that you can bring it to a stop. And some of the lessons, if you don't bring it to a stop, some of those lessons, they just repeat again and again, the same shit, different day, or the same shit, but a different person or different situation, but you'll know it because it always has the same kind of emotional vibration in you, same emotional signature. And you'll be like, oh, not this again. I moved town to get away from all this. I moved to a whole nother town, left all my junkie friends and my alcoholic mates, and I wanted to start off clean. And now it's found me again. You can't run away from it. You got to own it. You got to take responsibility and go to that place where you learn the lesson that's contained in it, so you can bring your mind to a place of realignment with what's actually in your own best interests. And then it won't have to show up again. Right? once the lesson is learned, it doesn't repeat. You go on to the next lesson and the next lesson and the next lesson. Some of those lessons are going to be, as you go, they're going to be more heavy emotionally. When you start reading the course, you kind of realize at first how disastrous your own reference points are for everything in your own mind. You look at the world through the eyes of your own beliefs versus what Jesus is telling you, and you're like, oh my God, I'm all over the place. I really have no clue about anything, why I'm doing anything or nothing. It's a complete sham, you know. But that passes, that stage passes where you realize, you know, like now I've got to do the work. Now I've got to get into it and start applying these principles. And as you apply the principles, what happens is you get usually ones that you can handle. You get little relationships, little situations you can handle. But in the back of your mind here somewhere, you know that there are bigger ones. You know that there are more daunting ones and ones that you're fearful to look at and places you don't even want to go, right? Which is why you need to build your faith. You need to build your strength. So eventually, when you come around full circle, you'll be like, all right, I'm ready to look at that now. I'm ready to deal with this emotionality. And it's like, not like you got to go back into the past and relive a horrific event or face something that you dread in the future, but just in the emotionality of it. Let me look at this as energy. I want to associate that energy with something somebody did to me or something I didn't achieve or some regret or whatever it is. And the temptation is to want to always displace what it actually is into something that it isn't, right? I want to blame someone else rather than take responsibility for my decision to have this experience in the first place. I come to a world where anything can happen and I want to blame other people for the things that are happening. It's like, no, I knew that anything could happen. I signed up on the dotted line. I came to this world full well knowing that it's an experience of death. Death, suffering, pain, sickness, disease, you name it. All of it. It's like, oh, I get it. It's like I bought a ticket to like Frankenstein's Disneyland or, you know, one of those sort of places. And within the Frankenstein's Disneyland, you start to try and look for the things that are the least scary, things that don't scare you. It's like, nah, I'm not going on that ride. It's way too scary. That's like, you know, but this one, maybe I can do that one. I'll watch everybody else do that one and see how they fare with it. And, you know, if they come out with all their teeth and their hair intact and everything, maybe I'll have a crack at it. It's funny. The travel agent. The travel agent. Janine, do you have that little book? Do you have that little book? No. Tina will say.
Okay.
Traveler's Guide to the Third Dimension. It's bits and pieces from the course, and there's other stuff from other teachers from around the world, and just a few little helpful things. We give these out to people who find themselves in a dark place, and it's just like, here, have a read of this, and then see what happens. You know, always something happens. Always. It's like, holy crap. Most people tell me I've never thought about it that way. What you do with it from that point on, however, is up to you. Any questions so far, Tina? Janine?
Yeah, I do have one actually.
Go for it.
Lesson 238, the wording, like, you would give your son to me. And then I know it says he is myself, but I'm confused. Am I the decision maker then? Why is it talking about his son being?
Father, your trust in me has been so great. I must be worthy. You created me and placed your son's salvation in my hands. Well, mind is the activating agent of soul, right? And you are that. You are mind. And mind is just the Greek word for the Latin spirit, right? So when you look at it, I am mind, it's like, that is you. You're all of it. Right? When you read this, any reference to you or I or me or anything like that is always you as you find yourself. Right? You can't work it out. It's like one of the things that's helpful when you're reading this course is to remember that experience is the teacher, not concepts. Okay, but the concepts will lead you to the place where the principles that the concepts embody become something valuable to you when you're ready to embrace it. Okay, when you're ready to look at it and integrate it into your thinking. So everything that's going on for you, as you find yourself now as a Janine or a Dave or whatever, it's like, well, that's a false identity, right? But I am still mind. I'm just mind that's fuddled up with a load of false beliefs about myself. So I'm learning to make better decisions about what I think I am in the situations that seem to show up for me, right? I only need to make those decisions in the falsity of myself. In the truth of myself, there's nothing to decide. I'm perfect. There's no choice to be made. But that doesn't get me out of Disneyland. That doesn't get me out of the place I find myself. It's like that's just sort of like two-stepping it all. Spiritual bypass seems to be the thing everybody likes to say these days. That's just like saying the words but not doing the work, right? So I've got to find myself in the place where I'm actually doing the work. So when he says, where is it? I must be worthy. You created me and know me as I am, and yet you placed your son's salvation in my hands and let it rest on my decision, right? You are God's son, but you're also God's son as you don't know yourself, right? Just because you have amnesia doesn't mean you're God, not God's son. Just because you have amnesia and think you're something else, like a Janine, doesn't mean you're not God's son. So it's like Jesus is talking to you as the imaginary friend that you think you are, and at the same time representing your reality, right? Because you have to deal with this and you have to look at this and face this and make the decisions about this in the place where you actually find yourself, which is on earth, in a body. These are the beliefs I have about myself, right? And as you progress, it's like you start to realize, well, hang on, I'm not on earth. I'm not in a body and that. And then you might, in a few years' time, you might come back and you'll read that and you go, oh yeah, I used to think like that, right? But it's like, what is it when you're sitting here going, now, what does he mean by that? It's because you don't know what he means by that. Right? Experience is the teacher. In the moment where you know what he means by that, it'll be because you've experienced it about yourself and you won't have to ask the question, what does it mean? Okay. So one of the things that happens in this course, and like, man, you can read a whole page, 50 lines or whatever it is on a whole page, and you might only get 2 words. That doesn't matter. Those 2 words are more valuable to you than an entire year of reading other storybooks or an entire year of conversations with people like me or anybody else. It's like those 2 words are just, eventually you'll get to the place where you're reading this whole book and it'll be like, oh, yeah, it's like kindergarten, right? It just makes, you don't even need it anymore. It's just like it's telling you what you know. It's telling you something that's just like spiritual truth for dummies. It's like, I used to be a dummy. You'll recognize it within yourself. I used to know what that did. Didn't know what that mean, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I used to not know what he meant by that. Now I know what he meant by that, not because I worked it out in my pointy little brain, but because I've had an experience that shows me what he means by it. It's like, I am in my Father, I am one in creation, I in he and he in me. But I also seem to find myself in this physical plane using one of these avatar things, bodies, doing all sorts of weird shit, and utilizing this course to integrate the principles contained in it to bring about different effects in the framework of the weird shit for a whole different purpose. I'm not here to apply all my spiritual learnings so I can be more successful in the world. I'm here to apply those learnings so as I can begin to break my chains and loosen the grip that I'm hanging on to regarding my identity, because I still think somewhere in my mind, maybe there's something here that I still want to do, or something here that's valuable. You know? It's like, I'm like you. I went to a place in my mind that was so dark. I didn't want nothing else. That was it. I was done. I was out of here. And like, I think at the point I finally got there, I'd been suicidal for years, probably in and out, you know, like going in and out of that place. And even at the point where I went through the dark night of my soul and I was adamant there was nothing I wanted, Jesus still exposed to me through this course that it wasn't that there wasn't anything that I didn't want. It's just like I didn't want what I had. Right? It's like if I had been born into a silver spoon family and whatever, the things that I didn't want would be an entirely set of different things than where I was at that point in my life. You know, Jesus is telling me, he says, well, here's what you've got. Here's what you've narrowed yourself down to in the world. This is what the world can offer you. And this is what God is offering, or I'm offering. And you're saying, well, I don't want any of this. I'm suicidal. And then he's saying, well, what about if we offered you more? You know, what if you had some better options in the world? Do you still want to give up the world and follow me? You know, so you're always looking at where it is that I'm a liar to my yes. Jesus is saying, give up the world and follow me. And I'm going, yeah. And then along the way, I'm following him. It's like, oh, look at that. I didn't even know those things existed. And you wander off and you wander off, and Jesus would be like, oh, I'll come back in another 2,000 years. It's like, you know. But you got to remember the place where you find yourself in your own mind, where you see it all as meaningless. You know, the world will always want to dangle a bigger carrot and something more shiny and all of that sort of stuff. And if you could get out of the situation you were in and heal all the crap that you feel beset by and start over, quite often you're going to be like, all right, well, let's just do that. But salvation is not even concerned with that. Jesus is telling you that all the roads in the world, whether fame, fortune, glory, living on a tropical island, needing for nothing, all of that stuff all ends in death. You know? So we're just looking again and again and again, over and over and over at the meaning of given everything and learning to make better decisions about it. It's like if you think of following Jesus, let's say, as being this long, narrow line, right? It's a thin line through the world. And as you go, Jesus comes and finds you in your dark place and you follow him. You got to stay on that line, right? The distractions are always going to be there to look to the left or look to the right. And ooh, look at that and look at that, right? Your job is to stay on the line. But without mind training, you're not going to even realize that you've drifted off. Right? The first step into hell is a slippery slope. And you'll be out there doing whatever it is you think you're doing. And you'll swear black and blue that you're participating in salvation, until the moment you realize that the shit's hit the fan again, and you'll be like, where did I go off the track here? How did I end up in this place again? I was doing so well, right? But you learn to remember by forgetting, right? I don't think there's anyone on the planet who can just suddenly say yes to Jesus and then stay in that yes 24/7, right? So you kind of have to give yourself a little off the hook there with that, you know, like you can't beat yourself up for it. And it's like, all right, I'm going to forget. I'm going to fuck it up. I'm going to get it wrong. And Jesus is going to stand there right beside me all the time, holding my hand and waiting for me to be willing to look at my thinking about whatever it is that I'm involved in or think I'm involved in. You know, eternally patient. So it's like, okay, I see where I'm at. I'm a beginner. I'm a newbie. I'm always saying yes. Every morning I wake up, here I am, Lord. Yep, let's do this. It's like, let's see what happens today. Because what is that thing, Tina? The evil of the day is sufficient or something or other, sufficient error. Come on, you're more biblical than me. You should know this stuff down
Totally
pat.
not.
I die daily, St. Paul, St. Peter, whatever. But, you know, every day there's going to be something. If you get through a whole day and there hasn't been something that you can apply forgiveness to, then you've been walking around like this with blinkers on. It's like, let it affect you. You can't die anyway. You're eternal. Let the world affect you. Let it push your buttons. Let it trigger you. Let it activate you. Be offended. You know, have those emotions, because those emotions and those responses are useful in helping you to find inner peace. There's no point in denying it. You know, denial just causes thrombosis. So, nah, I'm going to be an emotional wreck, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to be a complete meltdown nutter. The whole world's going to think I've gone crazy, and I don't give a shit because I'm just holding hands with Jesus and we're looking at some goofy stuff here, you know. And that's where it's at. It's like I'm pursuing inner peace for me. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I don't care where I have to go or what I have to do or what healing I have to go through, you know. But it's like Bibiana said, I feel resistance. It's like, well, you can look at it as resistance, but you're going to have to heal that idea of what you think resistance is in your own mind, because there is actually only love. Right? And every time she reads that lesson, she's going to bring up, it'll bring up what she calls resistance. It doesn't do any good to go, oh, it's not resistance, it's love. It's like, because somewhere there's an idea it's resistance buried deep in the factory, buried deep in the thinking in the filing cabinet. It's like, aha, I'm seeing something incorrectly here. I need to go to where it is that I've decided that that's what it would be, and I need to heal it there. I can't heal it here because here's just the mechanism. Here's just the mouthpiece. You know, I need to look at it in my thinking. It's like, wow, damn, this could run deep. You know? When Jesus says, resist not evil, it's like, well, if you look at evil as the idea of error, right? Not evil. If you were to go back a few thousand years to, you know, the Galilean lands and whatever, and you were an archer in the army there, sin is an Aramaic archery term, and it means to miss the mark. Right? It means you missed the target. Now, that's a great analogy for not being one with God in the moment. Right? I'm slightly off the mark. I'm seeing things incorrectly. I'm not hitting the target straight on. Right? I'm not connecting. I'm not remembering all of that stuff. How it got from being an archery term that means missing the mark to being sin, something that you do as a, you know, as the Catholic Church would call you a sinner and you're guilty. I have no clue. Somebody wasn't paying attention in Latin school and they scribed it down wrong or something. I don't know. Some drunken translator back in the 12th century, you know, like, that'll do. No one cares about this anyway, as long as I get paid at the end of the day, you know. Meanwhile, 300 years later, people are burning at the stake because they're sinners. Oops. It's funny stuff. So it's like I'm looking at the idea of being able to make better decisions in the place where the decisions I've made prior are bringing to me effects that I'm telling myself I don't like. Resistance, fear, pain, whatever. All right, let me look at that. Let me sit in that for a second. Let me take that into my circle, be still and breathe and do the work there. You know, shut the door. I'll go to that place that that resistance takes me to. I'll go to that place that that pain takes me to whatever degree I'm able to do that. Now, Janine, if you've ever had an emotional, and I'm sure you have, if you've ever had an emotionally painful experience, you know that you try to wriggle out of it, right? The natural tendency of the mind is to want to do something so you don't have to stay there and feel the pain, because without salvation, you don't know what to do about it. I'll get drunk, or I'll smoke a joint, or I'll go and hang out with my friends so I don't have to think about what the hell, anything. Adjust. Right? So in this teaching, we're not going to adjust to our pain anymore. Like, we're done adjusting. We're done running away. We're done pushing it down, pretending it's okay. It's like, no, I'm all fucked up. I'm all fucked up. I need help. And we draw a circle, like mentally. It's like that idea of Jesus going into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. He drew a circle without food and water to face his own temptations, to face his own internal demons, right? That's what we do in the moment where, it's up to you whether you want to do it or not, but that's what we do in the moment where we find ourselves emotionally confronted or emotionally activated. It's like, hang on a minute, I'm not going to use my old ways of coping with this anymore, because they don't get me anything. All that happens is it just piles up, and I have one emotional situation after another, and before you know it, I'm suicidal again. And it's like, well, now I want to sit in my emotions, right? I'm going to learn to become the observer of myself rather than the reactor to myself. I'm going to step back from what it is that I'm reacting to and look at it objectively. I'm going to be like, oh, I'm experiencing struggle. I'm experiencing pain. I'm experiencing whatever it is I'm experiencing. That's cool, right? And you can look at it without buying into it. Now, it's possible for anyone to do that in their own mind, right? And in that, you can breathe, simply breathe, and allow the emotionality of what you're experiencing to come up, and you offer it to God, right? Which is your higher mind, right? Now, in leaving that place empty, when you're offering it to God, it's like, it's through prayer, because everything is prayer. You're experiencing yourself in a moment of actually being what living prayer is, right? In service to God. Oh, I'm in living prayer. My waking, my sleeping, everything is a prayer of gratitude to God. Wow, thank you, until you reach the place where it's not, until you reach a place where you feel attacked or feel victimized or feel whatever it is, and then you got work to do. So it's like, I'm going to sit there with those emotions, and I'm going to let the Holy Spirit sort this out for me. I'm going to draw my circle. I'm going to sit there, and I'm going to invite the Holy Spirit to come down to me and to do what needs to be done in this situation. All right. Now, how long you have to sit there, that's up to you. I don't really know. Sometimes I've sat for ages till my legs go numb, till my knees feel like they're just burning. My feet go dead and my toes have got pins and needles. I'll just sit there until I begin to allow myself, or begin to feel the depth of that emotional load, right? Now, normally the tendency would be to adjust. I'll go and have a drink or a beer or whatever and deal with it later, or not deal with it later. But now I'm going to sit there, and I'm that place in my mind where I gave myself permission to adjust before, now I'm just going to leave it blank, right? That place where I'm like, oh, I'll go and have a drink. It's like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm not going to go and have a drink. I don't know what to do, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to roll up a joint, because I don't know what to do to deal with these emotions, but I'm not going to do that, right? And you have to kind of be firm with yourself. You allow yourself to sit in that really, really uncomfortable place, right? And it gets really uncomfortable. And I like the analogy of people at a restaurant, right? I'll use this one a bit. Imagine a group of friends at a restaurant, and everybody's chit-chatting away, and all of a sudden it goes quiet. There's a pregnant pause, and everybody's looking, hoping someone's going to say something, because that pregnant pause gets so unbearable. You know that there's a threshold where at a certain point, it becomes ridiculous that no one's got anything to say, right? Nobody wants to sit in that place. Nobody wants to sit in the silence. It's confronting. That's the place you want to be. Right? That's where the miracle happens. Right. Now, in a restaurant situation, the only solution to that silence is laughter. Everybody look around and go, oh, look at us all. We got nothing to say. Right? It's funny. Right? It's exactly the same thing as any emotional situation. You've been abused, you've been poverty, you've been whatever the catalyst is that brings up that emotion. And it's like, I'm not going to deal with it how I usually deal with it. I'm going to sit there in that quiet place. I'm going to refuse to adjust. And I'm going to let God do what needs to be done. Now, in the moment where you can't sit there in that quiet place anymore, something else is going to happen, right? If you're true about giving it to God, right? If nothing happens, or you perceive that nothing happens, it doesn't really matter. At least you made the effort, right? But it just means that perhaps you weren't really honest about it. And one of the things that you'll find through doing this course is actually how dishonest about things you really are, right? How much you lie to yourself and how much you cheat yourself out or sabotage your own best interest in relationship to things that are actually good for you. You know, self-sabotage. I always like to sit in prayer as the liar, as the false person. It's like, well, here I am again, Lord. I'm probably full of shit. I'm probably lying, but I'd like this situation sorted and whatever. And I can't even feel it. I don't feel like I'm being honest at all here, but at least I'm here. At least I'm making some effort, you know. It's better than making no effort. You got to start somewhere, right? But you realize again and again how full of shit you are. It's like Jesus is saying, give up the world and follow me. And the only reason you want to do that is because you think it's going to be better than the situation you're in now. It's like, well, yes, it will be, but also no, it won't. Because he goes to some pretty damned extreme places. And if you're going to follow him, you better have your sandals done up nice and tight. You know, the way is steep and the path is rough, and there are a few that you'll find on that path. That's a true thing. When the shit hits the fan and your emotions start to just, you know, you let the floodgates open and the emotions start to come up. You know, look at Anna. Anna just had to run away. So, and that's fine. Everybody does that. Everybody, she'll be back. Everybody does it. You know, not back as a Zoom meeting back perhaps, but she'll be back to look at whatever's going on for her in her own mind. The same as you will, I will, Bibiana will, Tina will. Sometimes you do run away. Sometimes you draw that circle, you sit there in that silence and you allow all that emotionality to come up. And the next thing is, whoa, man, this is a lot of shit. I don't think I can sit here in this because it's making me feel like I want to kill myself. And like the last ditch effort that the ego has is to get you to kill yourself rather than go beyond that threshold and have an actual experience of direct light, which is what happens. You know, I can't take this anymore. Yes, you can. You're eternal. You can take anything. You're a perfect creation of God, just not the way you think. You say, well, what do you mean by that? And it's like, well, you'll find out. You'll find out when you want to. That's it. I wanted to find out, and I did find out. I had nothing else going on. I heard a voice from the sky directing me, and then a voice from behind me directing me. It's like, damn. Like a Cecil B. DeMille movie. Big booming voice like God. I knew it was God, but I had nothing left. The Course talks about it as the voice for God. God doesn't actually have a voice because God doesn't need symbols or use symbols, but the Holy Spirit translates what is perfect and what is completely understandable into terms and conditions that my dumbass brain can deal with. It's like I've whittled myself down to almost no abilities at all other than the creative ability to make a decision. That's it. You've gone from being co-creator of all it is to this trembling mess that's capable of now only being able to make a decision about something. And you don't even know what decision to make. That's the worst part of it. I don't know what my best interests are, Jesus. You choose for me. Just help me not to put my 2 cents worth in. I want to just get out of the way. I'm just going to draw my circle. I'm going to sit here and you do it. And that's something you learn. That's something you learn often through the pain of not doing it. There's a lot of people talking about being spiritual, but when it actually comes down to it, it's hectic. It's really full on. Look at Bibiana. She's only 19. Look what it's done to her. Love you, Bibi. So it's a journey into fear, Janine. It's a journey into fear. So, all right, if you're ready, you're ready. If you're not ready, well, you're entitled to miracles. All right, I want to heal my mind, heal my life, and be about my Father's business and get on with the journey of my soul. And you learn to see it all as that. You learn to see every situation that shows up as having higher purpose. Every relationship, every friendship, every interaction. It's like, what is my purpose in this? It's not that you always remember, but that's why you have mind training. 365 lessons, 1 a day for every day of the year. It's why we have each other. We have these Zoom meetings and things, and we help each other to stay on track and to remember, and we call each other out on our bullshit. It's like, I know when you're not, you know, when you read this little book, it's like, I know damn well when you're not reading it from the heart, when you're not reading it from joy and happiness and whatever. It's because you can't hear it. You can't hear it. It's like there's a subtle kind of, there's a difference. There's a subtle kind of frequency that goes on when you're just reading it like meh, 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 because you're part of a group and you think you have to read it. And then when you're reading it from a place where it matters to you, where you're passionate about it, and where it's actually active in your psyche, in your mind, and in your heart, you know. And it's good to be either one. It doesn't really matter, because one belies the other, you know, like the one where you're only half-hearted or whatever. Everyone can tell. It's like anything in the world. It's like any job, any position that you're in. If you're doing it with a half-hearted perspective, everyone else knows. Not many people are going to call you out on it because they don't want to be called out on it themselves. But I want to be held to account. I want to be held to account, and I want to be able to take full responsibility, knowing full well that nothing ever happened and that everything's always perfect. Right? The idea that I would need the Holy Spirit is the denial that I am the Holy Spirit, or the Spirit of wholeness. So when we have our meetings and we come together, I'm coming together with you, knowing full well you're the Holy Spirit with me, or you're the Spirit of wholeness with me. We share a single spirit, which is love. And even though we're in this kind of like elementary school level of remembering that, it doesn't take necessarily that we have to graduate. We can remember it whenever we choose. So, oh, I can remember that now. I can just extend the light and the love of my heart and mind to you now and say, hey, Janine, I love you. Bibiana, I love you. Tina, I love you. Do I actually feel that? Yes. Do I actually feel that? Maybe. More work to do. But I'm not going to let myself off the hook for doing the work. And I'm not going to let you guys off the hook for doing the work, because we come together in the admission that we're here to do the work. We're here to hold each other accountable as brothers in Christ, and as these things in transition, these mind in transition, that's coming together for a purpose that's beyond our grasp to understand by ourselves. Salvation is a collaborative venture. It's a venture in joining. So, oh, you come together, and whoever comes will be provided, you know, like what's that saying, Tina? When the teacher is ready, the student will appear.
That's it.
I got it right.
It's not biblical.
Not biblical, but it's a well-trodden.
Exactly.
So it's like, I'm here in the process of learning what my own best interests are. You guys show up to give me an opportunity to express from where I'm at with that. So hopefully I can hear myself teaching what I need to learn. And it gets very simple. Every day it gets simpler and simpler and simpler to be grateful, to be grateful, to be grateful. It's like, wow, thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. There's nothing, seen rightly, there's nothing I can't be grateful for. The person playing the good part for me or the person playing the bad part for me, because everything is contributing to my salvation, and salvation is more important than justifying myself as some kind of identity in the world. You know? It's like, in fact, that's not important at all. Unless it is, Tina. No. Careful about that. That'll show up for you now. I saw you do that.
And well, it should, you know.
And well, it should.
Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Yeah.
Let's join in that idea and say yes to it. All right, I'm with you. I'm totally with you there.
Get it done.
Get it done. Yep. All right. My whole nose is blocked up with sawdust. I've been out in my I've got a little workshop outside where I just potter about and do stuff. And my dad, who's 80, we're talking in the dream here. My dad, who's 83 or 84 or whatever he is, he's starting to get a little bit uneven on his feet. And so I'm making him a walking stick, and I'm doing the handle. He wants a bamboo one like that because it's nice and light, and I'm making the handle. And I got my sander out, and I'm sanding it's a redwood, Australian redwood, which is a really hard wood. And I'm using a fine disc, and my whole workshop's full of sawdust shavings, and up my nose. I don't have a mask or anything like that. So all my nostrils are like clogged with this clag of sawdust. If I sneeze, probably Pinocchio's going to come out. I'm a real boy.
It'll be a puff of smoke.
I know. I'll snot out a walking stick. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, let's do some breathing, some feeling, some connecting. Tina, you can drop a line to Anna later and just check in on her. Poke funny faces. Like that.
Then lots of hearts.
Yeah, lots of hearts. I really actually thought she'd be at your place this week, you know.
It was a whole week we were praying because both of us, like, lots of fear came up. So every time it was like,
really?
we just, so, we joined. So we just kept praying. And even with Anthea yesterday, I was saying, that's kind of what it's about, like, get there or don't get there, but it comes up and we just join and pray. Like, that's what it is. Like, we see, like, my own like,
Exactly.
fear of joining, because I thought I healed it with my trip. And then when you gave that assignment, it came up again. And I was like, oh, okay, guess I haven't. But it was kind of cool, Dave. There was a moment, can I share really quick? There was a moment where the lesson of the day was, I can't say it exactly, but I give my life to God to rule today. And I was in that lesson and I had so much fear. You said I left the Saturday meeting. I had so much fear about what was happening. And I realized I'm still like protecting, like I'm cool with you guys in Zoom. And I thought I had solved it when I went away and met those people and the fairies and all of that stuff. Like, oh, I did it. And then when you gave that assignment, it was like, ooh, so much fear. I was doing that lesson that day. And I was like, okay, I'm just giving it to you. I'm giving it to you to rule. Like, okay. And as soon as I got done, I got a message from Anna, and it came up like, woo, it came up. And I was like, oh, fuck, I can't do anything. Surrender. I just surrender. And as soon as I just like let go, it was like it met in my mind. Like all of a sudden, it just came back to me how glorious it was when I surrendered 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And it was like it just met, and it was like, don't you trust me? Don't you trust me? I just proved it to you how good it can be. Just trust me if you surrender and let go. It was like, oh yeah. So I just went about doing what I felt needed to be done. It was so joyful, and for about 10 minutes, and then the fear comes up again, and like pray again. But she and I joined because it was coming up for her, it was coming up for me, and I was like, well, let's just pray, because that's what this is for. This is just for us to like see it and pray, and however it plays out is how it's going to play out. But this is what we do while it's happening. So, and I'll send her some hearts, and we'll pray again. We'll pray some more. Yeah. And you talked to Anthea?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But, last meeting, Anna was like, she had a sense of being kind of excited to be going to your place or something, and then boom, like
yeah. But that's good, right? I mean, that's good, because it was
it's
like
good.
That was
but there's a doing in this, right? There's a listen, learn, and a do, right? The doing is an actual component of it, right? You can work your way around it. Oh, that's what it's for. It's just for the bread. Until you actually do it, you don't know.
I had a whole week of it happening though, like not with Anna.
Exactly.
It happened. It happened again, like with another group of people. I had to do it again. Like it happened again, like this week, and it was the same. It happened again. Like as soon as I said yes, it was a miracle, because I was trying to slide out of that too. Like I can't do this. It's like too far away.
You were.
And and I was like, well, fuck it, I just give up. And as soon as I gave up, like the miracle like rushed in, and it was still like, I don't really want to be with you guys, but okay, I do. I'm gonna be with you guys. And it was like, so all week long I've been going through that. It's like, seriously, I didn't really know I had that much. I didn't know that I had that much fear of joining. Yeah.
You can go to her place,
It's my assignment. It is my assignment. I could go to her place. Where's Viviana? Where do you live, Viviana?
I'm in Torrance,
Los
Angeles. So
she's close to me.
Exactly.
I'm close. I could totally go to your place. I mean, I didn't bring this up with you, Dave, because I saw myself. I was trying to get away from it. Anna is in
still
Florida.
Trying to get it. Look,
I am not. I'm just. I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring it up. I wanted to, but I didn't bring it up.
Look at you getting all defensive and deferring, and it's like,
I surrender. I let go. Whatever. Take me, Father, I'm yours.
all right, good. It's funny. Salvation's a game that happy children play. So, anyway, all right. Janine, sitting up. All sit up. Everybody sitting up nice and straight. Janine just got all comfy laying down. Damn. Sitting up nice and straight. We'll just do a quick one. All right. So take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes and try to relax the idea of your body. Just let it go for a second. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Try to remind yourself that everything, including this, is part of your spiritual journey, part of your journey through the mind, including this, right? Try to give everything full recognition and full acceptance, whether you feel that you're competent or not competent, whether you feel one way or the other about anything to do with anything, right? This is just a moment that's perfect unto itself, and just allow it to be that. Close your eyes. It doesn't have to be associated with any other moment, with any other learnings or teachings, right? Nothing. It's this moment, whole and perfect unto itself. Try to forget about the past, what someone else has told you. Try to forget about the future, what somebody might say to you, what you might learn, all of these sorts of things. Allow this moment to be perfect, to be brand new, without you feeling the need to write anything in the blank space. Just let it be a mystery. Let it be open. Here I am, Lord. This is a place where you present yourself to God. Whatever your ideas of God are, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't have any, it doesn't matter. Here I am, higher power. Here I am, source. Here I am, Father. Whatever you want to use. It's like it's a moment of surrendering and a moment of entering in to the fresh, new, open place of this moment. Letting go of everything else. Forgive the world and let it go. Forgive the world and let it go. And just breathe. Try to imagine a circle. Try to imagine a circle around you on the ground. A golden circle. In your thoughts, imagine a golden circle. You're in a forest or you're on a beach or you're wherever you are. Right? We'll just use a little creative visualization. A golden circle in front of you. This is a place dedicated to healing. This circle is a place dedicated to healing. It has that purpose and no other purpose. It's a place in your mind, an idea in your mind that you are holding sacred. If you don't want to use a circle, you can use a phone booth like Superman. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter, right? But we're going to use a golden circle. And before you step into that circle, try to feel inside something that you want to forgive, something that you want to let go of. I'm done with this story. I'm done with feeling this way about something, whatever it is, it's up to you. Right? Somebody you have a grievance with, perhaps. Something that keeps coming around again and again and again. And when you feel ready, I want you to step into that circle and take that with you. Take it into the circle for healing. Here I am, Lord. I am willing to forgive myself for this situation, this person, this event. I'm willing to forgive myself. Not the person, not the situation, and not the event, but yourself for that. I chose to come on this journey. I chose to have this experience, and all of the things that happened to me, I chose. I've been mistaken in my choices, and now I want to learn to choose differently. But the place that this grievance occupies in my mind, I want it healed, so to leave it blank. The place that this situation or these emotions occupy in me, I want to let it go. I want to return that place to a place of peace. I'm willing to forgive myself and to let it go. And you have to go to that place now in your circle. Try to feel where it is that you are willing to forgive. Try to feel where it is that that situation takes you. Try to feel the emotions contained there and go there. Go to that place. Go to those emotions in faith and let yourself go down into that darkness. This is a journey into fear. I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to take responsibility for this, and I'm going to heal it now. And breathe. Take a few deep breaths. And you find something. If you've got something there, you find something and you look at it and you start to feel it. This anger, this pain, this grievance, this sense of being a victim, this whatever it is. I'm tired of feeling this way. But it can't be just words. You've got to get in there, bring cause and effect together. Cause and effect together. I'm tired of this. I'm done with this story. I am willing to let it go. At least I'm willing to sit in my circle. So there's got to be some willingness. I'm in this Zoom meeting. There's got to be at least some willingness for me to even be here. Breathe, Bibiana, breathe. Go deeper. Try to feel it. Let it affect you. Your thoughts can't hurt you. Your emotions can't hurt you. You can think they can, but they can't. You're in a safe place. You're perfectly okay. Let yourself go where you need to go with the recognition that you have a purpose for going there. I'm going to do this. I have a purpose for doing this now. Try to be objective. Try to step back and see that emotionality. Feel where it's taking you without buying into it. You don't have to buy into it. You don't have to suffer all over again. It's like, look at it. I don't like how it feels. I feel it in my throat. I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my back. I feel it wherever you feel it. Breathe. Breathe. Here I am, Lord. Here I am. Take this from me. Heal my mind of this. Heal my mind of this. I need a miracle. I need a miracle. I don't know how to heal it. I can't do it myself. If you could, you would have done it already. Breathe. Let it happen. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Give it to God. In the circle, feel where it takes you and give it to God. Heal my mind of this, Lord. I am willing to forgive myself this story, this idea. Not forgive because you did anything wrong. Forgive just because it's not real. It has no reality being of the past or the future. It's just memories. It's taking up part of your mind as memories. Now you choose to be peaceful and at peace. Let's get in there and just erase that. There's no point dragging it around for the rest of your life. And don't adjust to the place. Don't adjust to where it is. Let it be brand new. I'm tired of my memory banks being filled with this garbage. I'm tired of thinking about it. I'm tired of feeling it. I'm done with it. You got to feel it in your heart where you're done with it. It's easy to make the decision. The mind is where you make the decision, and the heart is where you find the passion for that decision. I'm so done with this. I'm tired of it. I don't want it anymore. Breathe. Good. Gotta let yourself feel it. Let yourself go into that place. Don't adjust to your pain. Don't adjust to your pain. Flip it over. Give it to God. Let it be love. Flip it over. Don't define it. Don't put any kind of definition to it, meaning to it, whatever. It's just a part of a story. When you get in touch with it, when you feel it, then you're being real. It's like that prayer of the heart. It has integrity there. You mean it. You know, when you say it in your thoughts, you don't necessarily mean it. But when you feel something, you can't avoid that you mean it. You can't kid yourself because you're in the thick of it and you're feeling it. You can't lie to yourself about it. Your ego may try to recover, but when you feel happy, you can't deny you feel happy. And when you feel like shit, you can't deny you feel like shit. You have two emotions, love and fear. I'm going to hand over all my fear to God so that I can remember love. Breathe. Feel. When you're ready, feel. Good. And you may not let it go in a Zoom meeting. You may not let it go just doing these exercises. It may be something that you have to do in the privacy of your own little thing. But it's just a kind of an expose. It's just a kind of an exercise. We have this exercise in practicing our healing. It takes a minute to really want to let your guard down. It takes a minute to really see what keeping your guard up brings you. You reach that place and you look inside and you just go, fuck it. I've got nothing to lose. What am I doing defending myself against my feelings? What am I doing defending myself against a whole part of my experience of life? The opposite of life is not death, because life has no opposite. It's another form of life. In the text, the opposite of life is not death. God is all-encompassing and has no opposite. But in this world, we experience love as another form of life, as lessons, teaching and learning, teaching and learning, teaching and learning. If we're not about our teaching and learning, then we're just drifting. We're like tumbleweeds, just getting blown by the wind this way and that way. It's only in the recognition that, I'm teaching and learning. Then we have purpose. Then our lives have purpose. Without that, we're just drifting. When our life has purpose, then we're the dreamer of our dream. We're the captain of our ship. It's like, I see that I have a purpose in this relationship, in this situation now. Let me be about it. My purpose is healing. My purpose is forgiveness. My purpose is patience and tolerance, giving and receiving, generosity. All of these things that I'm learning so that they all begin to line up together in the way that I am. Instead of being this scared, defensive thing that wants to justify itself, justify its fears. Fear has no justification. You're a child of God. Breathe. Here I am, Lord. Feel. Breathe. Try to focus. Don't let your mind wander off into the past or the future. Focus. Here I am. Stay in the circle. Stay in the now, in the here and the now. Apply your mind training. Don't be distracted by thoughts that come in and somebody's at the door or the telephone's ringing or what am I doing tomorrow? Don't let yourself become tolerant of mind wandering. Focus. Here I am, Lord. I'm here for my healing. Hold yourself to an accountability for that. Hold yourself to a responsibility for that. It's a gift you give to yourself. You're not going to perceive the gift until you actually allow yourself to have it. This moment, here and now, breathe. Breathe, focus. Yes. Yes, here I am. Good. Oh. Good. It's important to practice. I hope you guys are practicing during the week and stuff, you know, like putting the effort in to spend time with God. Don't wait till Sunday to go to church or to a Zoom meeting. Do your lessons, apply them when it says to. Put in the effort. You're worth it. You're worth it. You're worth the effort. Somewhere, if you keep turning up, it's like that old saying, hang around a barber shop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut. At some point, as you're applying these principles and everything, it's going to make a chink in your hard defensive armor. When there's a chink, the light will get in. Breathe. Here I am, Lord. Focus. Focus. Give it everything. Ooh. Focus. Ready? Breathe. Yes. Right there. There it is. Feel it. Feel it. Don't adjust. Stay in the here and the now. You ready? Here I am, Lord. Here. Feel. Feel. Let yourself feel it. Call it pain if you want to. Call it love if you want to. Let yourself go into it. Let yourself drown in that emotional place. Stop defending yourself against it and go into it. Breathe, Bibiana. Breathe, Janine. Deep in, deep out, and focus. Here I am, Lord. Father, heal my mind of the belief that there is anything that needs healing in me. It's a paradox. It's like a catch-22. Good. Breathe. Yes. All right, good. Leave it there. Love you guys. Good. What's going on with you, Janine? Let's open the bar.
What?
Let's open things up here, if you want to.
Oh, I have like really bad, like chronic physical pain. So that's why I'm
Yep.
struggling to sit up right now, but
Yeah.
That's all I could focus on was my physical pain. I'm trying not to, but
No, don't try not to.
well, yeah.
Let it take you completely.
Yeah, I was just trying to like, it's been like almost 3 hours, so that's why I'm like trying to move a bit. But
Right, okay.
yeah.
All right. Call it at 3 hours. And oh, you've been here a bit longer than me, but anyway. All right, I love you. Peace. Hopefully Anna's on her way to your house, Tina.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for showing up. Hang out with Tina and Bibiana, Janine. Hang out with these guys on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're
you
mighty.
Annie found us through Annie.
Annie?
Yes, she came via Annie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool, B.
so Annie gave you
All right.
what we do, because we have another one tomorrow. If you're able and willing.
Yeah, we have one at 7 a.m. my time.
Which would be, I don't
Tomorrow
know,
we're going to kick ass. We're going to get
bet
out
you-
here and we're
I
going to kick her out.
know, I know.
Kick her out the door. Kick her
I'm
out
gonna
the
try to be
door.
low key in the back. I'm gonna try to stay out of the line of
No,
fire.
no. I'll get you can do tomorrow, Tina. You can facilitate tomorrow and you can go in kicking ass.
Oh, I already did it on Thursday. We joined on Thursday.
With
and I did it on
with all
Thursday.
the love in the universe.
No, I did it on Thursday. I did it on Thursday.
Oh, you
'Cause we
did?
were- yeah, I mean, and I
Sometimes you have to do the tough love. Sometimes the only way you can hear this is the tough love approach. You know, it's like,
I was being gentle. I just was like, I need to have true empathy. I mean, I was like, I need to have true empathy because we're doing the same
Right.
thing right now, and I need to see myself.
right,
in you.
exactly. It's a
So,
reflection.
I can't back
Good.
off of you because I'm backing off of myself. So, but
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
I'm looking forward to you taking.
Kind of like you jump in the pool and you realize how cold it is, but you don't want to get out because everybody else isn't feeling the cold. You know, it's just like, damn. I'm gonna stay in here until
Yeah,
I
what's
walk.
wrong with y'all?
Right. I always remember Greta being in my face, like the tough love. She's my tough love guru. Like, and I'm so grateful for her now, like, man, she didn't let me skip out on anything, it's like,
Yeah,
for her, I wouldn't be here today. That's for sure.
it's so hard, that tendency to
You got to
You know
put
what I mean?
aside, you got to put aside all the concepts that, like it's a reflection, and you got to be the, what is it? The good Samaritan.
Yeah, that concept, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
a brother on the side of the road and they're laying there struggling. So you got to pick them up. You got to help them.
Yeah.
You can't just go, oh, it's my reflection, I'm struggling, keep walking. It's like, what the fuck is that?
No. Well, I mean, even if it is my reflection, I mean, I want someone to pick me up. You know what I mean? So I can't,
Exactly.
I gotta pick her up. So yeah,
I wouldn't want to be in that place and have everybody ignore me.
I mean, I need to see that in her so I can know it in myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I look forward to you tomorrow. And yeah.
No, you can do it. I'm gonna defer the tough love because I've got tons of tough love. I can do tough love all day long, but
we're gonna be good cop, bad cop.
I'll just see if it mentions that in the book before I say yes to it.
You don't know what's in
Yes,
that book.
let's do good cop, bad cop. I'll be good cop.
Oh, I was gonna call good cop.
No, shotgun.
All right, cool. Right on.
I always do bad cop. So,
Yeah. All right, I'll do my best to
All right.
stay and not run away because I have to. Well, it'll be miraculous. We'll see.
yeah. All right.
All right, brother.
All right. Fun.
Yeah.
Read your book, do your lessons. Read your book, do your lessons. All of that stuff.
All the videos. I don't know if you've seen them, Janine. They're on a YouTube channel. And while
Get Janine's address and send her a little book. Do you want some more of these?
Sure. I have a few still, but I can get some more.
I would like
You know,
one.
I
Okay,
Is it,
Viviana.
or is it possible to order it on Amazon?
No.
No, these I'll give these out for free, but I sent a bunch to Tina. I don't know if she's given them out yet.
I've given
But
quite a few out, but I have a few
If
left.
you
so I'm
guys are
happy to-
both in California, you guys should just hook up for lunch or something one day, and don't forget to take a book.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I don't know how big California is, but
It's huge.
yeah, not as big as Australia.
Well, yeah,
You
that's
wanna-
true.
You want to visit somebody here, you got to pack a bag.
Well, Anna's got to get on a plane.
That's cheating. That wasn't the whole point of me telling her to go out her front door.
No, not Anthea. Anna.
Yeah, she got to walk out her front door and stick a thumb out. That's the,
Anna does. Anna's 2,000 miles
course.
from me. She's 2,000
of
miles from me.
course. And then what is time and space to Jesus?
Nothing at all. Thank you, Father.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
But
Whether
we can,
it's
we can use what's given, like an airplane.
no, the whole
What?
point is that be miraculous.
Yeah, miraculously, I get a ticket.
If you already got it all sorted out in your head, and you got a plan,
No, I'm just saying that can't be off the table. I mean, that's included. It's miraculous.
look at you trying to decide how it should or shouldn't be.
I don't know. I'm just saying that's, I don't, yeah, okay.
Bye, Janine.
Healed
Oh,
mind
Janine.
doesn't plan. Damn it.
Exactly.
She's got to move. She's in pain.
All right, so hit like, oh, she's gone. Hit like, subscribe, and share.
All right, promote. Bibiana,
Yes.
promote the Zoom things on your page. Tina and I
Okay.
have got a new thing. We're gonna become ruthless promoters.
Yes, exactly. So I'm gonna drop
What's that
that little
other guy?
thing in the chat and tell people to share it. And at the end of every video, I'm gonna say, like, subscribe, and share. And we would love to hear your heart. So even if you just send us a heart, make a comment.
Yeah.
It would
See,
be
we
helpful.
should have that. We should have that as a clip. We can. All right. Ciao.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.